right, welcome. We have some athletes here today. This session, I really don't have anything specifically choreographed to do. What I'd like to do is go through some of those exercises we saw in the video today. Let the athletes experience some of that in terms of a teaching progression. Also, any questions you might have about starting or acceleration. We haven't talked about that yet, but if there's anything you'd like to look at in terms of that up here this morning, we should probably do that too, since our next practical session isn't until tomorrow morning, and we're probably going to be in a weight room and doing some strength-specific things for that. So, anyway, why don't the athletes come on out here and let's try to work between basically where that chair is and where the pit is. We're going to try to work in this area for the sake of our videographer, because we get down there too far and the light's not very good for him. But you were all there this morning and you saw we were talking about with those stiffness jumps and those exercises with the ankles. Okay, so what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to think about doing this type of action, okay? And what you're doing is you're trying to create a rigid ankle, and right before that foot hits the ground, we're going to tap into the ground a little bit. And just feel that bounciness, feel that effortlessness, okay?
Like 12 inches above the ground kind of thing?
It doesn't even have to be that high. The whole goal is not really to see how high you can get off of the ground, but rather just feel the bounce, boom, 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 feel the energy, feel the timing of the ankle. You'll feel it if you point the toes too early, you'll feel like you spend more time on the ground. And if you keep the foot up too long, you'll feel like your heel almost hits the ground first. And that's not correct either. So just kind of do that, progressing down the track between here and the long jump board. And then when you walk back, if you walk back on the back side so that you won't get in the way of the camera. Yeah, so just one person go, and then we'll wait till they're done. That's it. Pull the toe up each time. There you go. That's nice. Very dynamic. Good. Go ahead. Good. All right. Pull that toe up. Pull it up. There you go. Load the foot each time. Good. Good. Okay, good. So what'd you feel? Did that feel easy?
The more dorsiflex, the easier it was.
Pardon?
The more dorsiflex, the easier it was.
The more dorsiflex you are, the more you pull that toe up, the easier it was to set it up again, right? And a lot of you did a good job with that, but as you went along, the toes kind of went from here. They started to droop a little bit. Okay, so it's like every time you leave the ground when you're sprinting, if you think the first thing you do is pull that toe up, then that ankle's always ready to go on the next step. All right? So that was good. That was real good. Now let's take this and let's change it up to that next exercise. So what I want you to think about doing is let's take the same thing, except let's put the right foot in back of the front foot and try to do the same exercise. Yeah, just alternate your feet a little bit and do the same exercise. So our feet are not going to be together this time. We're going to be a little bit like this. All right? Feel like the weight is still on both feet. Mm-hmm. Yep. Feel like your weight is on both feet, so you're not favoring one foot over the other. Try to look good, because after all, you're going to be on YouTube tomorrow. Okay, not bad. So some of you had a little more trouble keeping the ankles up that time. All right? Did you feel like your weight was on more one side of your body than the other? Sort of? Okay. Okay. Let's try it one more time and think about trying to keep the weight on both feet. So don't look down, don't lean forward. Keep your chest up and keep yourself nice and tall, and see if that makes it easier.
Does it make a difference what foot we have forward?
It doesn't matter. If you're all hurdlers, right?
Yep.
Make your lead leg be the back one.
Lead leg back one?
Lead leg is the back foot. Lead leg is the back foot. Okay? Stay tall. That's it. Pull the toes up every time. Load. Load and tap. Load and tap. That's better. I told them to put their lead leg in the back. Yeah. Okay, pull your toes up. Pull your toes up. I need to learn some names here. What's your name? Stephanie. Okay, think about pulling your toe up a little bit more as you come up in the air. Yeah. Okay. Gosh. You're all such good students. I won't tell them that. All right. Let's take that same thing, the same exercise now. On the back foot, the lead leg, as it taps, as you tap off it, I want you to go boom, up in the air with it. So every time you leave the ground, we're gonna tap real quickly off that back foot.
Continuous motion like that?
Yeah, just so it's okay. And it's a lead leg in the back. Okay. So just take your time. Don't rush through it. Whenever you're ready.
So the lead leg is back?
The lead leg is slightly in back. That's right. You don't have to have your feet very far apart, okay? Still try to... That's it. Good. Good. Now stay tall. Now let your right foot, Stephanie, let your right foot hit the track. Let your right foot hit the track. So, some of you are trying to get too much distance between your feet here. Still keep your feet, basically the toes even with the heel of the other foot, and still try to land on both feet. Land on both feet, but the ground time on your back foot's going to be really short. You're just going to tap the ground and come right up. So just slow it down a little bit. Yeah, you don't be in a hurry. Don't be in a hurry to cover ground. It's not how much ground we cover. It's just the quality of the ground contact each time. So just take your time. Stay tall. That's it. Again, feet down together. Get your feet closer together a little bit. Okay. All right, let's hold up a second. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay. Let's take a transition between the previous exercise and this one, okay? And see if we can make this happen a little easier. Put your feet together. Do the basic tapping exercise, except let the knee come up on one side. But with the feet together. So both feet are going to land at the same time. So you just start like this. Just start like this going down there. And then gradually let one side come up. A little bit higher, a little bit higher, a little bit higher. All right, Steph, you go ahead. Now, there. There you go. That's the idea. Excuse me. You got it. You got it. Good. There you go. Good. Toe up. Toe up. Now, toe up. This is not river dance now. That's good, right there. That's it. The gentleman's got it. Your name, sir?
Andrew.
Andrew? Good job, Andrew. All right, Andrew, to the front. All right, so just watch what he's doing. Basically, he's trying to land on both feet, but his ground contact time on one foot is just a really quick tap. It's like the ground is hot and he's trying to get off of it right away. And he's letting the other side just do what it would normally do. Okay? Show us what you just did again. See? Feet are basically hitting the ground at the same time. And he's trying to be really quick with that lead leg side. Okay? Try to copy just what he did. Just keep it together for right now. We'll stagger it in a minute. Now be active with both feet, okay? We're quicker on one side, but we're still tapping the ground with the support side as well. Load the ankles.
So Gary, good question. Is it supposed to come from here, from this position with the lead leg back?
All right.
More there, or
right now
on the touch part?
I tried to have them do the lead leg back, and they were having problems. So I put the feet back together. And now that they're getting the rhythm, I'll start to separate the feet.
Okay. I see what you, okay, yeah.
So it's kind of a coordination sequence where they struggle with the other coordination, so we'll simplify it a little bit. Well, we can switch the legs too, but right now in just teaching them, we'll stay with one side.
Yeah, but you...
Yeah, working on both sides. Yeah. Okay. That's better. That's better. Now, let's take the same thing, and now let's go from here and let's stagger that lead leg back a little bit and do the same thing with just the lead leg slightly behind you. It doesn't have, some of you are getting them way back. It doesn't have to be there. Just like the toe is even with the heel of the other foot. Good. Still get both feet down at the same time. That's it. Good. Excellent. Just keep thinking about landing on both feet at the same time. Good, Andrew. That's good. That's good. That's good. All right. Now, a couple of you are struggling because you're thinking about landing on one foot and then the other. Still think about both feet landing at the same time. So, just like doing a jump like this with one foot in front of the other. You know the old river dance thing? Okay? And that'll make it easy. Make sure both feet hit the ground, but then you're just going to be real quick with the knee coming off with one foot. But then make sure both feet hit the same ground at the same time again. Okay, one more time. One more time, and then we'll move on to something else. Now make that left foot do some work too. That's it. Keep that back ankle rigid. Now let your right knee come up. That's better. So you're starting to feel the energy off of that quick foot. You feel that it just bounces off the ground and right up in the air. That's your lead leg. That's what your lead leg's going to do on that penultimate step. You put that energy in the ground, it's going to come right up to the hurdle by itself. Okay? All right. Yes?
So whose calves or gastroc are engaging, and are any of you sore already?
Whose calves are sore?
Yeah. Okay.
So Gary, what do you do to strengthen that then? What do you do to then?
Just that type of work, just adapting it to the exercise, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the ones that are probably getting sore are the ones that are they're coming down too early,
Yeah.
and this, you know, Andrew, the kid in the back, he's got the timing up pretty well. He's hitting both feet. He's tapping right off of the ground. A couple of the girls are struggling with it a little bit more, but a lot of it's just they're getting forward with their postures and thinking too much about what's going on.
Yeah.
But what I try to emphasize here at the beginning is just let both feet hit the ground at the same time. You know, and then just gradually you start to shift the position of the feet and make one side quick and the other side a little longer on the ground. Boom, boom, more like a galloping, like a horse. You know. So I'm going to try to progress them into.
You probably don't need to lift the knee up, but you probably start with the
No, they don't. Yep. Just looking for some quickness off of the ground. And so, yeah, some of them are trying to drive the knee up too high. Some of them are thinking more about pulling their heel up to their butt rather than driving the knee up. But those are the typical kinds of things you're going to see. But again, it's coordination work, and as a result, it takes a certain number of sessions before they start to get comfortable with it. But a couple of them already said they could already feel the energy coming off that free side, and I said, well, that's your lead leg. That's your lead leg going into the hurdle. Okay, I'm ready to go again. Okay, the hurdle takeoff, and so your lead foot's going to hit about where the first cone is, and your takeoff step's going to hit about where the second cone is. And you're just going to do a hurdle takeoff into the sand. Don't worry about getting real high or anything. What I want you to feel is this same rhythm we were doing a while ago, except tap, take off, tap, take off. So as you hit this first step, I want it'll be your lead leg. I want that ankle to be rigid. I want you to tap into the ground and get onto the other step quickly. So it's going to be tap in really quick with your knee.
Okay, so the first cone is what you said?
The first cone is going to be your penultimate step.
Okay.
That'll be your lead leg.
Okay.
And the second cone will be your takeoff step, and you're going to take off into the sand. This would be about the starting point for the ladies, the gentlemen, back here. So you can use basically from a standing start, you can use your 8-step hurdle approach to those takeoff points. Okay? So, yeah, so this is if this is your starting line, if you were doing a standing start to your hurdles, I mean your lead leg would be back, right? Yeah, so this is my lead leg. I'll put myself about here and just do a run and a takeoff. Question? Okay. Go ahead and try this. Don't be afraid, you know. It's just an approach run to the first hurdle, and we're going to set up a takeoff mechanism here. And I want you to think about what your ankle, think about that tapping exercise. We're going to tap off the first cone and take off the second cone.
Gary, if you just explain what it is that you're going to have to do.
We're going to do a hurdle approach run and take off. Okay, so this first cone is about where their penultimate step would be, and the second cone is about where their takeoff step would be, going into the hurdle. Okay, and what we're working on is just trying to keep a real rigid ankle, tap off the first cone real quickly, and set the takeoff up, get the knees together, like we saw in the video. Yeah, we want it. Well, I didn't even tell them about that, but you're hearing it already. They're already doing it as a result of what they're trying to do on the ground. They're getting the pickup and the rhythm. That was good. That was good. Oh, the favorite part, crashing into the mats. Okay. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now, you ladies, you're taking 7 steps. Okay, go ahead, take your 8 steps. Remember, if this is your start line for the hurdles, where will your feet be in the blocks? They'd probably be back here, wouldn't they? Yeah. About 2 foot lengths behind that line. So put your feet back here. Give yourself a little more room so you can get your 8 steps in there. All right?
When we're planting like our lead leg on that cone, just like that.
Yeah. Again, everything comes from above.
Yeah.
So think about like I'm stepping onto something. Boom.
All right.
And tap off of it real fast. You'll feel the rhythm pick up. It'll be. You listen to each other's runs, okay? Go ahead. Did you hear that rhythm? Oh, boom, on the end? Good. Okay, good, good. That's it. Nice rhythm. Nice rhythm.
What's the cue on the second one?
The cue is to keep that ankle rigid, step down from above, and just basically tap the ground.
Oh, tap the ground on the
Tap the ground on that penultimate step. Boom. Some of the girls are only taking 7 steps here. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. If you really tap into that penultimate step, like we've talked about, you'll come off that real fast. The knee will come up real quickly, and as a result, that takeoff step will come down and be real, so you'll hear a real quick rhythm. Yep. Let's do it again. Listen to the rhythm of their run. Last 2 steps. Quick, quick. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right, not bad, not bad. Think about every step coming down from above, Okay, so it's like you're stepping down onto your takeoff point. Step down onto the takeoff point.
So initially, does that make them really loud on the ground in their in their contact?
You usually hear the contacts a little bit more, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But I mean, but then again, if they're not spending a heck of a lot of time, you shouldn't be making
The
They
whole,
sound loud,
yeah.
yes. But that's okay.
But you're putting a lot of force in the ground too. Okay.
And that's good.
The guys are getting it pretty good.
Yeah, the girls aren't.
That was better. That was a lot better.
So on, and so it's just a takeoff, drive the lead leg forward.
Yeah. Yeah. What I want them to feel is I want them to feel the energy they're creating off this lead leg action when they tap this ground. Okay, and they keep that system rigid. That knee just comes up by itself. So they're creating the lift and the drive of the knee by what they do on the ground. And I ask a couple of them, and they're starting to feel that. Okay, one more time, gang. One more. Stay tall now. Stay tall. Step down. Okay. Okay. All right. Let's take a little break, guys. Take a little break. That was good. That was good. You're all starting to, looks like some of you are starting to really feel the energy off of that step now. Okay?
Am I kind of getting it?
Yeah. I mean, what I'm listening for is the rhythm's picking up, you know, boom, boom. So what you should feel is when your foot comes off of that first cone, you should feel like that lead leg is really fast.
Really quick.
Yeah, and what you're doing is you're transferring energy to the takeoff step. Okay? So now what we're going to do after you take a little bit of a break is, did y'all bring spikes with you?
Yes.
Okay, we wouldn't have to do this over spikes. I'm going to put a hurdle up. I'll let you do it over a hurdle. Okay, and you could do it with spikes or without. See, what I'm assuming here is that this takeoff point is about 2 meters from the first hurdle. So this takeoff point is about 2 meters from the first hurdle. Okay, so for the women, I go 11 meters back to their start line, and for the guys, I go 1172 back.
How far did you make that?
And these, you know, these marks here are about 1 meter 80 apart. It's approximate. It's a rough approximation. It might need to be a little wider for the girls, for the guys. I just wanted to put a couple markers down for them to have the thought process being, I need to step down by the cone. step down from above by the cone. So they knew approximately where their takeoff point was and where their lead leg was going to hit before that. So if I had those little mats, that's where I'd put the mats. I put a mat there and I'd put a mat here.
And those mats, like we have mats, Les has those mats, we use those, it's amazing. They get it, that rhythm right away.
Yeah.
So that's just a kinesthetic thing.
Exactly. It's just a kinesthetic thing. It's because it's something there,
Yeah.
they have to think more about, I've got to step up onto this thing,
Yeah.
and so I get the desired step down effect that I'm after.
Yeah.
It's like when somebody runs stairs, they pick their knees up and they put their feet down a little better than when they run on the flat.
Yeah.
Because there's a consequence there if I don't. Okay, so set hurdle up here. Good. So all I'm doing is measuring a starting point for the guys and for the girls, 13 meters and 1372. I'm going to put a cone down here about 2 meters away from the hurdle, and a cone down here about 90 centimeters to a meter away. So as we watch them, we'll have a reference of takeoff and touchdown distances.
And here are the lanes. If I can just interject for 1 sec, just because of the way they're going to run into the pit, can we use three and four so that they have a clean run into the pit? I'm just worried about the lead sort of in, sort of.
Yeah, we can.
That we have 3 and 4 booked. And
Okay,
the two we
so
might-
let's scoot this over. I was trying to leave a little distance between the hurdles so
Yeah.
the girls wouldn't be interfered with the guys, so we could have the girls run right down the line. The girls could run right down the line. Yeah, just put that between the hurdles if you wouldn't mind. Great. So you're moving through the hurdle. Feel that energy come off that penultimate step. That was pretty good. Good. Nice work. All right, that's better. Okay. What do you see about their takeoff and touchdown distances? A little long on the touchdown? Okay. Anticipate bringing your lead leg down a little sooner, okay? Try not to float off the hurdle. When you feel that the calf of your leg is coming across the hurdle rail, start it down. We're trying to step you pretty close to this cone. Good one. All right. Okay, hold up a second. How many of you watched what Andrew just did? What did you pick up?
He was quite fast.
Okay. Right. His rhythm of his run as he approached the hurdle was faster in the first 3 steps than it was in the last 3 steps. And so what that did is it increased his flight time a little bit. This time when you do your next run, Andrew, just drive a little bit more in your first 3 steps and feel the step rhythm increase and get quicker as you get to the hurdle. And see what that feels like. Okay. What did we just see with this gentleman? Is that Clifford? What's his name? Keegan? Okay. You feel like you were a little close to the hurdle? A little tight? Okay. See, what we saw there is kind of just the opposite of what we saw with Andrew. In that Andrew was really quick out of the back and had to get long. And Keegan was long out of the back and had to get too quick here. He had to chop some things up. And his takeoff point was actually in here, which for a woman would be really close, for a male would be extremely close. So what I want you to do is think of your first 3 steps as being a little quicker and shorter back there. So it'll allow you to run through this more freely and get your takeoff point a little farther away. So the point I'm going to make, and we're going to talk about it in starting in acceleration today, is when we have to make adjustments like that, whether they're too close or too far away, always make the adjustments in the first 3 steps. We don't want to make adjustments here. We want it to be done in the first 3 steps out of the blocks. Okay. Okay. All right. Good job. Good job. Did she look a little close? Okay, what was his takeoff distance like that time? He was inside?
Inside, yeah.
Okay. So those first 3 steps. Okay, so just tone down the drive just a little bit. Did you drive for 3 steps?
Yeah, I drove too much.
Okay, just drive for 2 this time. We're going to get him somewhere in the middle of the 2 extremes there. Okay. Takeoff distance was pretty good that time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, we've got to get her farther away from the hurdle. Hold up just a second. Your name? Jenna? Okay, Jenna. Your takeoff point is really far inside the cone here. Okay, so let's try to shorten it. No, don't move back. Because we can't change our start line. So just make your first 2 or 3 steps a little shorter so we can run through this and get us a little farther away. Yeah, just think about instead of driving so hard out of there, then just kind of just boom, boom, boom. A little shorter and quicker. This gentleman's name is
Taylor.
Taylor? Okay. You're doing a pretty good job setting up that tapping off the lead leg.
Okay.
Now put your takeoff foot down. Just put it right down underneath you. You're kind of letting that takeoff leg still hang out in front of you a little bit. So what it's doing is making you carry way beyond the hurdle farther than you need to.
The last one, I felt like that was about a year ago.
Yeah, you were. So let's just say what we're doing with our approach, and let's put that takeoff foot right down. So, like we tap, it's like boom, boom. Okay. Okay, distances are good. Yeah. Well, it's good. Yeah, they're doing a pretty good job of setting up that mechanism on the penultimate step.
Yeah.
But then there's a little bit of fear there. Well, I'm a little bit afraid to put this foot down because it feels too much like I'm going this way. But what they're not yet, some of them are not yet feeling and understanding that this mechanism is going to make that lead leg so quick it's going to transfer my energy through that hurdle and it's going to give me the lift I need. But it's a matter of kind of getting that trust. So the hurdles, I've kept them a little lower on purpose so they can kind of feel that a little bit. They're doing a pretty good job though. Good. Nice. That was good. Okay. Yeah, that was good. Okay. Is it Jenna?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. You're setting this up a whole lot better right now. Now, just do you feel? What do you feel like through the hurdle? Do you feel about as your usual speed, or do you feel faster?
Usual.
Usual. Okay. Let's anticipate getting off this hurdle a little sooner. In other words, after you do your takeoff and you start to see your foot over this hurdle, let's start down. Let's start the lead leg down instead of feeling like we have to hold that position and kind of float the hurdle. Try to get you back on the ground sooner. I think kinesthetically she's used to just holding that position up there too long, and she can get off the hurdle faster. She can get back on the ground because she's moving through the hurdle well enough.
Yeah.
That looks pretty good to me. Good. Let's go back here to your first 2 or 3 steps out of the blocks. And let's shorten them up just a little bit. You feel tight to the hurdle? Close? Okay.
Yeah, I do.
So what you want to do here is you want to, whenever you feel too close to the first hurdle, you want to adjust these first 3 steps back here. Make the adjustment here and not there.
Okay.
So as you're coming out, try to make these first 2 or 3 steps a little shorter, a little more pump, 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 punch, punch, punch. And then that will allow you to open up the stride and really execute what you want to do into that hurdle without feeling like you're too close to it.
Because
Okay.
you take these shorter steps?
Yeah, first 2 or 3 steps should be shorter coming out of the back. There. That looked better. Yeah, your takeoff and touchdown distances seem fine.
It is?
Yeah. What'd that feel like?
I don't know.
Well, then I guess I don't know either. Huh?
I don't know how to put it into words.
Your lead leg looked more bent.
Unstable. I felt unstable.
You felt unstable in the air or
Coming down after the hurdle.
coming down? Okay. I think you can anticipate it a little bit more. I think you can think of the hurdling action instead of taking this long, it takes this long. Okay. So as soon as you did that takeoff mechanism, start to think about getting off that hurdle and getting back on the ground. Like, I want to be on the ground. I don't want to be in the air.
Alright.
Okay? That looked better.
Yeah.
Yeah. That looked a lot better. Looks real good. Yeah. Yours looks good too. Yeah. Is that helping, what we talked about?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you're
Close.
still a little bit close? Okay.
Just on my steps.
And just, part of it too is when you're using a standing start, you tend to have a little longer steps coming out of the back than when you're in the blocks. Okay. Let's just go one more time through, and this time, again, just keep thinking about what's happening on that lead leg when it's on the ground, that penultimate step. Try to make that penultimate step really active and really making you run onto that takeoff step. We don't want to prepare to take off. We want to prepare to run through. In fact, I don't even like to use the term takeoff in the hurdles. It's a run through the hurdles. Yeah, run through the hurdles. All right, one more time. Make it your best one, or you don't get any lunch. They told me I can say that. All right, good job. Hi. Good job. I told them they had to do a really good one or they couldn't get any lunch. That was good. Now, what I did on that, I just told them I wanted them to go back and now just really emphasize what they were doing with that penultimate step. And they did some really nice job. It was good. Okay. So you've earned your lunch. Half a sandwich a person.
Yeah.
So, any questions?
Would you put a cone at the penultimate step when they come in, or just
You could, but I mean that's going to have, with a group like that, it'll have a fair amount of variability to it. What doesn't have so much variability is that takeoff point. But typically what I do when I'll do these kinds of sessions, I'll try to videotape it as much as I can. And then I can go back and look at it, and I can show it to them the next day and show them the things that they're doing, because it's really, as you can tell, it's really hard to see what that ankle's doing at those kinds of speeds without some video. And but in a lot of the instances today, we could see the result of it when they did it well, because their hip really displaced through the hurdle really well. A couple of them really were getting that. So that tells me that what they were doing on the ground back there was probably pretty good. Okay, so any questions about that, or anything on starting and acceleration, block starts? Actually, we covered a lot of that already just by what we saw that doing here today in terms of how to make adjustments when someone's too close or too far away from the hurdle, and they did some nice adjustments with that. So what for me, the next step in a progression would be I would set up a series of hurdles, and we would do like some 5-step hurdling where we're just emphasizing the penultimate, the takeoff, and the flight through the hurdle, and not being too concerned about the run between the hurdle. So for women, actually for men and women, what I typically do is I'll take the normal hurdle spacing and I will add 1.80 meters to 2.10 meters to that distance for my second hurdle.
5-step.
For 5-step, yeah. And so it's not a, you'll see video of it this afternoon, it's not a hard 5 steps. It's like attack the hurdle and back off for a couple steps, attack the hurdle and back off for a couple steps. So it's kind of an in and out thing. Again, the emphasis is being placed upon the skill of moving through the hurdle and not the run between the hurdle. So I just call it hurdle skill work. And we'll set up, outdoors we'll set up as many as 7 or 8 hurdles down the track at that kind of spacing. And just let them work on the takeoff mechanism and running off the hurdle. That's one of the staples I use in my hurdle training. Do that one day a week along with some of these things. And then the other day of the week with hurdles is acceleration and rhythm endurance work, like we saw on the video this morning. No questions? All right, you may take your spikes off. Thank you. Appreciate your help.
They're just on the start. So when you cue them on the start versus the sprint start, what are some cues you give them to cue the hurdle when they come out of blocks?
Well, most hurdlers will want to come up to a standing position a little sooner, just because that hurdle is looming there. I still try to keep them in a driving focus for at least 2 or 3 steps if I can. But again, that's going to vary on the individual based on what we see here. Just like we saw today, some of them needed to drive more in the back, some of them need to be quicker out of the back so that they were able to smoothly transition into the takeoff here.
Okay. So focus on this and then...
So that's very individual. Yeah, the start to the first hurdle is really very individual. Typically, the taller the athlete, the more they have to think about keeping their steps quick in the beginning, so that they don't get too close.
Okay.
And then the shorter athlete and weaker athlete may have to emphasize driving out of the blocks a little bit more to lengthen, eat up some ground there, so they don't have to reach for their takeoff point.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you're sort of referring back to that.
Yes.
This whole mechanism, because you're repeating this thing over and over and over.
Right. We don't want to change this mechanism. Any adjustments we make, we want to make back there.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
What about a lean over the hurdle? Do you tell them to keep their weight forward a little bit, or you just don't think?
Well, it depends on the height of the hurdle, because a male athlete who has to raise their center of mass, naturally by what occurs at their takeoff and the distance they're taking off from the hurdle, they're going to create more of a lean, because this contact point is going to be way behind them. And lean is a result of contact point. So like even coming out of the blocks, we're going to have a greater lean forward because that contact point is going to be under to behind us all the time. Whereas when we get up to maximum velocity speed, the contact points under the hips, and because of that, our posture is tall. So if you see an athlete late in the race leaning forward, it means they're pushing on the ground too long. And that contact point's behind them. They're creating a force behind their center of mass that tips them forward.
I want to keep them upright as running.
Sprinting posture as much as possible. And during acceleration, everybody's going to have a little bit more forward lean until they get to maximum speed, but as much as possible, we want to be upright.